a native Texan, born and raised, father of six, grandfather of two, because everything is bigger in Texas.
Bigger indeed. And welcome to Book 101 Review, Mister. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. The canteen.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yes. So tell us the canteen, what it's all about. Mr. Kyle, the canteen, what is all about? Can you tell us?
Yeah, happy to. So, when I was 19 years old, I had the opportunity to go on a rather unique journey. It was a mission trip where I spent a month in Africa. And normally, when a young person goes on a mission trip in a foreign country, you imagine 30 or 40 kids running around and staying in hotels. This was entirely different. It was myself and a native translator backpacking into remote villages, sleeping in tents that we were carrying on our backs, preaching the gospel to people that otherwise didn't have access to a Bible in their language. And even if they did, they were illiterate anyway.
Mhm.
So they had to
So,
rely on oral tradition to know anything about spirituality.
what are your struggles in writing this book, Mr. Kyle?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. Partly the fact that it occurred 27 years ago. And so digging back into my memory bank was part of the issue. Some of it I had to do some research to remember contextually things that were going on in Zimbabwe and South Africa at the time. But it was aided by the fact that I kept a journal every single day that I was there in Africa. And I have a pretty robust collection of photos from my time there. And of course, that helps to jog the memory. And when I say photos, just to be clear, when I got back from my time in Africa, I physically took film, dropped it off at a drugstore, waited 2 days for it to develop, and then have actual photos as a result. And depending on the age of those listening here, that may either bring back some nostalgia or may sound like a bizarre way to capture pictures because we're so used to using our phones.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Kyle. And can you explain the significance of the canteen and how it relates to the frame or to the theme of relying on God?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I'm happy to. There was a lot, and I mean a lot of hiking. We would hike for hours at a time, and the whole concept in Africa of time and of distance is very different from what we're accustomed to in the West. And so to them, it was nothing to hike for hours. It was nothing to wake up early and hike to the bus stop and then wait a long time for the bus to be available and then finally to continue your journey from there. And there was one particular day when we had been hiking really effectively all day long. And I was running dangerously low on water in my canteen. And inexplicably, my guide, who grew up in that area, got lost. And so I found myself in this emotional struggle for whether I was going to rely on myself and the little bit of water that was left in my canteen, or whether I was ultimately going to surrender and rely on God to provide and keep me safe.
Well, interesting indeed, Mr. Kyle. And thank you so much for sharing to the world. Who is the intended audience for the canteen and what do you hope they take away from it?
Yeah, it's always important to consider the audience, and in this case, I would say anyone that feels like they are stretched thin, anyone who is running out of the ability to meet their own needs, and is ready to turn towards God to have their needs met. Anyone that feels that they're going through the motions and they're exhausted and they're looking for their emotional and spiritual thirst to be quenched, this book is designed for them. And my hope is that they would walk away from it with an understanding of what their own metaphorical canteen is and what it looks like to stop depending on it and to start depending on the Lord.
The subtitle mentions abandoning self sufficiency.
Mhm.
Why do you think self sufficiency is a challenge to spiritual growth?
Ooh, such an important question. We have in modern society created so many layers, so many barriers that hinder our ability to genuinely engage and interact. And we are ultimately leaning on and relying on ourselves so much. And the layers that we've created, you don't see those in other parts of the world. So it became very apparent to me in Africa that when God sends rain, the crops grow and people eat. And so they had a very clear understanding of how those elements tie together. Whereas here, we've created so many layers that we have an illusion of self sufficiency. We think that the money in our bank account is because of us. We think that the homes that we have the opportunity to live in is because of us. And so we have a tendency to end up relying on ourselves to provide rather than relying upon the ultimate source.
So, Mr. Kyle, can you share a specific story or anecdote from the book that illustrates the importance of relying on God? Mr. Kyle,
I
can
apologize. If you could you ask the question again?
can you share a specific story or anecdote from the book that illustrates the importance of relying on God?
Oh, I'd be happy to. Um, let's see. So I'll share two. One is the recognition I had when I was in the bush immediately of having my normal defenses and protection stripped away. So the first night I was in the bush in Zimbabwe, the elder of the village where we were staying was sharing by way of the translator that elephants were trampling their crops. What the elephants leave, hordes of ants were consuming. And just 6 weeks prior, a crocodile had snatched the chief's nephew because he got too close to the river. And so that type of raw atmosphere and environment quickly clarified for me that my normal safety and security in suburbia was gone. And we could, at any moment, lose our life to traffic, to an airplane, to food poisoning. But we've insulated ourselves so much that we forget about the threats and the dangers that are out there. So that's one that comes to mind. And then another is simply a very simple story from the Bible that really resonated for me while I was there in Africa. And it's the story of the loaves and fishes and Jesus feeding a multitude of people. And it was a miracle. And that miracle could be addressed through any number of ways. But in this case, he chose to allow a partnership, if you will, to occur. That the boy, in this case, brought loaves and fishes, and then it was multiplied. And so I think that's an important balancing factor when we think about relying on God. It's not about us throwing our hands up and saying, well, I'll just do nothing and hope that God's going to sweep in and solve everything. And instead, it's about bringing our metaphorical loaves and fishes to the table so that then there's something available for him to multiply. And in so doing, we partner with God in achieving that miracle in our lives.
Mr. Kyle, how do you address readers who might struggle with the idea of letting go of control and trusting God completely?
Mm. Mm. That's so tough. I would say we all crave comfort. We all crave some measure of control. It is a place that gives us confidence. But what I would say to readers is that if you really peel back the layers, if you're genuinely honest with yourself, you'll find that the confidence you gain in relying on yourself is hollow, it's shallow, and it's fragile. It doesn't take much to come along and shatter that confidence. And if you're willing to step out in faith and let go of that comfort and security to embrace what God has in store for you, then you have an opportunity to take hold of confidence that is lasting and durable.
Mr. Kyle, truly, truly empowering answer. Very well said. How does the canteen differ from other Christian books on trust and faith in God? Mr. Kyle? Hello, Touch Mike. I think Mr. Kyle is disconnected. Mr. Kyle, my question is how does the canteen differ from other Christian books on trust and faith in God? Are we having a lagging, Mr. Carl?
It
Yes,
it
I think so.
certainly, yeah, it certainly seems to have some issues. I didn't have any problems at all with my internet access prior
Yes.
to getting on the Riverside.
Yes, probably yes. So my question is how does the canteen differ from the other Christian books on trust and faith in God?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting question. Part of it is the fact that it's my own personal journey.
Yes.
Part of it is the fact that each chapter has a section specifically designed to guide the reader through applying that principle, applying that concept that was laid out in that chapter to their own lives. So it's a section called Consider Your Journey, and it invites the reader into the process of putting themselves through that same thought process and identifying where they might be clutching onto safety and what steps they could practically take to lean more into a trusting relationship on a loving father.
Can you share a moment in your life when you had to abandon self sufficiency and rely on God and how it shaped the book?
Could you ask again, please?
Can you share a moment in your life when you had to abandon self sufficiency and rely on God and how it shaped the book?
Yes. And in particular, what stands out is when I was in my late 20s, I received a diagnosis of ankylosing spondylitis. And I recognized that I couldn't rely on my body. I couldn't rely on my prior knowledge. I had to trust in God. And even being able to find the diagnosis was a miracle because at the time, this was 17, 18 years ago, it wasn't a very commonly talked about illness, but I was blessed to have the right doctor that figured it out and pointed me towards a rheumatologist. But as a man in my prime, I had to recognize that my tendency to depend on myself and my ability to rely upon my own health was something even that was out of my grip. And so I had to learn to trust in the Lord instead.
Yes, thank you for trusting to the Lord, and people, please trust to the Lord because what you plan is better of what you're thinking. And Mr. Kyle, as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Ooh, interesting. Outside of the context of particular projects. So, what I mean by that is, I didn't set out with some idea to say, well, over the next 15 or 20 years, I want to write certain books or something to that effect. I've never had a goal from the standpoint of my authoring journey, but I have been blessed to write several books. Is with each project that comes along, I'll craft specific goals related to the project as opposed to goals related to my overarching career. And in so doing, it allows me to tailor my goals uniquely to that book and the impact that it can make and where it fits in an overarching approach to developing myself, but also sharing resources and ideas with the world.
And good luck to your goals, Mr. Kyle. I'm looking forward for more success. And what will your piece of
Thank you very much.
advice for those people out there want to be an author like you?
Oh, yeah, happy to share some. The first thing I would say is that the process of writing is one that is going to be unique for each person and really even unique for each project. My prior book, Legends Don't Retire and Neither Should You, I wrote in a span of 2 months. Whereas The Canteen, it took a year and a half, and I had had it percolating in my soul for over 25 years. And so each book is different, and each process is going to be different. If you find that you're hitting a roadblock, try something different rather than just continuing to push forward and try the same thing. And then lastly, I would just encourage you to continue writing, continue to developing your voice. And as soon as you're comfortable, get it into the hands of some beta testers, let them to give you some feedback rather than holding it in. Try to make it more collaborative and engage other folks as soon as you're comfortable doing so.
Yes, people, and stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, and share to the world. And thank you for that advice, Mr. Kyle. And can you please recommend a book that influenced your journey?
Oh, wow. So many come to mind. As a young man, I thoroughly enjoyed anything by Edgar Allan Poe. I don't know that that influenced my journey so much as it kept my brain entertained exploring those short stories. Certainly in adulthood, aside from the Bible, a book that's had a profound impact on me would be The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And then in professional circles, I've gotten the most direct value from Getting Things Done by David Allen. It's a remarkable textbook on how to break through procrastination, how to be more productive. And come to think of it, probably would be really helpful for any budding authors that are finding it challenging to get things done. I'd recommend they pick up a copy.
Thank you for that recommendation, Mr. Kyle. And how do you address skepticism or doubt about fully relying on God, which some readers
Hmm.
might feel?
Well, I would say that any doubt or skepticism in doing so is going to come from one of two places. It's either going to come from past hurts and disappointment, wondering, well, gosh, if God's trustworthy, then why did that bad thing happen? And so
Yes.
that's a matter of really delving into and understanding the emotional pain is what's driving that. And then the second thing is just ultimately unmet expectations. Anytime that we have crafted in advance in our minds what we expect God to do in a situation, and then God chooses to do something different, we'll quickly become disappointed. We may become bitter. We become disenchanted, and we stop trusting and relying that His plan for us is a good one. And so, whether it's because of emotional pain in the past or whether it's because of unmet expectations, the problem again centers on us and getting out of our own way so that we are in a position to truly lean on the only source that is reliable and that loves us.
Mr. Carl, that is truly, truly empowering answer. And a very well said again. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. Because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast. Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in fourth season, as well as my movie 101 review and music 101. Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Kyle, what's one message or takeaway you hope every reader remembers after finishing the content?
Hmm. My hope is that they would walk away with a deep understanding of how crucial it is that we move out of our comfort zones, because everything good that's available for you in your life is on the other side of your comfort zone. So you've got to take some risks. You've got to step out in faith, and you've got to stretch yourself if you're going to fully enjoy all that life and the Lord has to offer.
Yes, people don't afraid take the risk. Take the risk now. Who knows? You will be the next what? Einstein or
Indeed.
Mr. Kyle Gabhart. Mr. Kyle, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books, especially your upcoming book, The Canteen, Abandon Self Sufficiency and Fully Rely on God?
Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate it.
So where do people can buy you now for your upcoming book? Is it available on any books are sold?
Yeah, wherever books are sold, it'll be on bookshelves nationwide in August. You can find it right now at canteenbook.com. And always welcome to swing by my website, kylegabhart.com.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Kyle Gabhart because if you support him, for sure, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Kyle, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.